Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast. We're sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, Goebel Septic, and Americool Heating and Cooling. I'm Aaron Vantile, joined by the Chronicle sports crew, Dylan Wilhelm and Zach Martin. Zach, you missed our preview last week. How'd you feel about that?
I was sad, but I did appreciate the shout out when I surprised Dylan with my FCO MVP of Dylan Beck, and then he was like, "Oh, he's joking. This is a live reaction." I laughed so hard. I couldn't believe that I got him.
That was a good bit. Well played.
All of us looked at each other and we were like, I mean, that'd be crazy, but like,
it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Totally outlandish.
No, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
completely outlandish.
I mean, Beck's been that good this year. I feel like any
she's
other
quite
year.
good. Yeah,
I feel like she'll easily be the favorite next year.
I
would.
imagine so. Yeah.
I don't want to say slam dunk, but it's as close to a slam dunk as you could possibly get.
It's hard to imagine her not winning the league MVP next year.
And
if everything, unless something wild happens.
Right.
Bryn McGahee from Central Valley transfers in, who does not play for Colfax, Zach. I'm sorry.
I'm today years old.
All right.
She was at Colfax last year, wasn't she?
She was at Colfax last year. She transferred to one of the big Spokane schools, Central Valley or Central something.
Oh, but it was a good podcast last week with Banish and Kramer. They're fantastic.
They've got takes.
They do have takes, and I appreciate Kramer's despicable or despise of the WIA like I do, and the stupid sportsmanship medallion, which they did that in the opening.
That.
They did that in the opening in the regional round on Saturday, and I
time.
couldn't. I was like, "You've got to be freaking kidding me!"
Yeah, I think you and Kramer would line up on a lot of things.
I feel like we would.
All right, so regional round games are in fact in the books, and we're days away from heading to Yakima and Spokane for the remainder of the state tournaments. Dylan, we'll just get this out of the way early. Dylan made a safe bet months ago and picked Yakima for his state viewing experience, while Zach is relegated to Spokane. Zach does have a much finer facility to watch games in, while Dylan has one team to cover for 3 days.
I got Spokane.
Perhaps.
I actually view Spokane as like the more fun experience, even though it's like crazy, way more hectic. And since I got it last year, we figured it was only fair if we flip-flop this year. So, I only get one team, which from a pure work perspective is a lot easier than having 7.
Yeah.
But, I'll miss it. It's fun over there.
Yeah, but you're going to help out with some of our friends in the industry.
Photos. Might as well only got one team, right?
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's start by recapping those regional round games before a quick look ahead to how the 12-team brackets have shaped up. We'll start with the 2Bs. And on the girls' side, number 1 Rainier was defeated by number 8 Northwest Christian, 53-42. Angelica Askey scored 28 of Rainier's 42 points. So the question becomes, how big of a role did Brooklyn Swenson's absence play? She is injured. She is out for a while.
The rest of the season.
The rest of the season.
And softball season.
Probably softball.
She was in a wheelchair at the game. Rube took a photo of her watching the game because she had just had surgery that day from what Rube told me. So, they are in a lot of trouble right now. I had a lot of faith in Rainier. I thought the ceiling was definitely quarterfinals, and I thought with the right matchup, I think the semifinals could have been in play. Now, I think if they get to if they trophy, that is a wild success because she clearly makes that team go, and you could tell without her, at least on Friday night, that they're just not the same team.
Yeah. All right. The other games, let's see. Number 2, Adna beat number 7, Elam Roslin, 70-54. Chris Banish gets the podcast boost. Nice win for them. I'm sure that's what did it. Dylan was there. How did the Pirates bounce back from their loss in the district title game to Rainier?
Yeah, he actually credited us after. He said he thought the podcast was what,
it's very big of him and honest.
So not only were they on the podcast, but after the district title game loss, Freeman finished with 20-something, and it's not a secret. Freeman's going to do that on most nights, right?
Yeah.
But the key is, shocker, getting everybody else involved. The more points other people score, the better chance you have. And after that game, he said, like, if everyone else can get to 5 to 8, that's kind of the target. Because, you math that out, you get to 50, 60. They trust their defense that'll be enough to win the game. Guard finishes with, I think, 10. Hallam has 14.
She had 4. I thought she had 19.
Did she have 19? She had 19, yeah. A guard might have had 14. I'm mixing players up.
That's
yeah.
pretty good
Humphrey
balance
had
out
10,
of Adna, though.
Anyway, multiple other people's were in double figures is the point of that. And it was just so much smoother than it was against Rainier. I'm not exactly, sure if it was a matchup thing or what the difference was. Oh, I'm sorry. I just remembered, actually. I do remember. They were run and gun the whole time.
Yeah.
Because, Banish was talking about, well, Freeman, when in transition, go to Freeman, right? She's the best athlete on the floor 90% of the time. She's faster. She's got more stamina. She can make things happen. And against Rainier and in some other games, he was like, yeah, we noticed on film, like Freeman was kind of hanging back there and not really like sprinting up the floor ahead of her teammates. And we said, well, if she's going to be back there, get her the ball and let her lead the way and go. And she did. She had 12 or 14 the first half, and every time she got the ball, just full sprint up the court. It wore out. You could tell Elam Roslin by the third.
Yeah.
Even after the half, they weren't really rejuvenated. Some heavy legs. And it didn't help Elam that they were also trying to pound the ball inside a lot, which worked at times. But when you get gassed like that and tired, sloppy passes, turnovers, you're missing shots. It made it pretty easy for Adna in the second half to kind of pull away.
All right. And then number 5, Napavine, defending state champion Napavine, lost to number 4, Reardon, 53-36. Hayden Count and Jesse McCoy combined for 26 points, but the Tigers shot just 21.4% from the floor. Turned the ball over 26 times. What any big takeaways from that one? Just kind of a tough game for them.
Can't shoot that poor and turn it over on the road that much and expect to win. I'm sure Shoots would tell us the same thing.
Yeah. And then number 14, Mossy Rock, lost to number 11, Columbia Burbank, 58-35 in Richland. Zach made the trip all the way to Richland to watch 2 games. Zach, what's up? But why? How was beautiful Richland?
Because I'm a psychotic maniac that cares about our local children.
There you go. All right. So yeah, how did Mossy Rock look? Give me some quick takes on that.
It just wasn't their day. Ballman got too big for them. That's what Nick Rashoff told me, and Taylor Schwartz agreed. Just making mistakes they haven't made all year. Over helping in their zone. Rotations just weren't clicking, and Burbank made everything in the second half. It felt like they couldn't miss. That was one of the more chippy 2B games that I've seen since I started covering this area. I was like getting pretty worried that there was going to be like some actual like technical fouls having to be called.
Clutching your pearls a little bit.
I was worried. Like I was thinking that there was going to be some technical fouls of like just some straight up shoving and some very hard fouls. It was a little eye opening, to be honest.
Playoff basketball.
Well, because you don't expect to see it in a 2B playoff game. In
Idaho, we would never. Anyway, all right.
Not in Idaho.
Iowa, we would never.
I need Napavine Adna in a state tournament match.
Oh my God.
The boys.
Yeah. All right. So all 3 area teams, that's the end of the road for Mossy Rock, who I feel like they overachieved a little bit.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose three starters, 1 graduated, 2 of them transferred, and then another starter 2 years ago transferred. And it's this collection of
new
players.
New coach too, right?
New coach.
Yep, Nick Rashoff, new coach. And it's this collection of players that all of a sudden are thrusted into new roles, and they get to the regional round. Rousing success. And
after losing their first district game too, they had to win 3 straight elimination games just to get to the regional.
And all but Chesney Schultz is the only graduate, and that'll be a big loss inside. But everyone else is expected to be back, so this could be the start of another good run for Mossy girls basketball.
All right, let's take a look at the 2B girls state basketball bracket. Round of 12 games. These are loser out on Wednesday. We've got Columbia, number 11, versus number 6, Mount Vernon Christian. I don't think we know anything about either of those teams, so let's just skip it. And next, we've got Liberty versus Elam Roslin. CER just lost to Adna. Liberty is coming off of a win over Okanagan. They hammered Okanagan. So that'll be interesting. I kind of like Liberty in that one. I don't know why. Colfax and Napavine. That's a 12-5 matchup. Napavine's the 5. That's 7 o'clock Wednesday night. How do we feel about Colfax and Napavine? Colfax, which to be clear, does not have
No longer has
Just the idea that Bryn McGahee, who is playing basketball at the University of Washington next year, would be on a 12-seed Colfax team.
I didn't know.
They underperformed last year, if I remember correctly.
I think she was injured last year.
They were a higher seed. Was she? I don't remember. I never ended up getting to watch them just because we got.
I think I watched one of their games on the internet.
Yeah. I don't remember if they even trophied last year. But anyways, I'll go Napavine here probably. They lost to a good Reardon team on the road. I don't think there's any shame in that. I don't think there's anything to really be worried about. I don't expect them to shoot that poorly.
Colfax is only 14-13 on the season.
All right.
5-4 in their league. Now, granted, the end they only lost to Freeman by 3, and Freeman won that league. Lost to Freeman by 3 and by 1. They played a tough schedule. Lost to Reardon by only 18.
They're number 24 on the RPI rankings.
Lost to Liberty Spangle by 11.
I didn't know that. I will definitely now take Napavine. The RPI.
RPI never lies.
All right.
It reinforces my beliefs.
And then, RPI is just confirmation bias. And then number 1 Rainier plays number 9 Mabton in the 9 o'clock game, 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
That's a tough draw for Rainier. I saw Mabton last year against Napavine. That's
Mabton, also number 9 in the RPI rankings.
That's a good ball club.
They're 23-4. Their losses, they lost to Elam by 3, so that's probably why Elam is a 7.
Lost to Elam 3 times.
Yeah. Who's their 4th loss?
That would be, I'm looking.
Columbia Burbank.
By 3.
Yeah. So they've got, and then they beat Columbia Burbank.
In the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah, in the
by
playoffs.
7.
So that's not an awful team.
No, this is a really good team.
Mabton.
That's the same team that beat Napavine in the regional round last year. Yep. Napavine girls before they went on to win state.
Yeah. All right. So that's a tough one. I don't know. I kind of like Mabton.
I also am leaning Mabton.
Yeah, I'm leaning Mabton.
And it's really unfortunate because last year Rainier, they got to the district title game, lost their district title game, lost their regional, and then lost to Tudor Lake on day 1 in Spokane.
Yeah.
And this year, obviously, the 1 seed, the district champ, things were lined up so well for them to make a run deep. And they still can, don't get me wrong. These next couple of days are obviously going to be crucial in terms of what adjustments they make and how they try to continue to go without Swenson. But, I mean, just, this time last week, if you were thinking, maybe if Swenson avoids worst case scenario, or if she could somehow come back, even if it's not 100%, they'd be in such a better spot. But now you lose your regional and you're lined up against a great Mabton team. And if you win, you get Adna.
Yeah.
Just tough.
So the prospective quarterfinals on Thursday would be the Columbia Mount Vernon Christian winner against Reardon, the Liberty Cleveland Roslyn winner against Northwest Christian, Colfax Napavine winner against Brewster, and the Mabton Rainier winner against Adna. Napavine, Rainier, and Adna are all on the bottom half of the bracket. So, Zach, if you would have bet on
the
Napavine
girls
and Adna meeting in the girls' semifinals,
well, then my taken prediction would have still been a lie, but nope, it's dead because I bet it on the boys. So,
and if Napavine can get through Colfax, they went to Brewster in December and only lost by 12, I believe. Obviously, a lot has happened since then, but that would be a rematch of something we saw in the regular season.
Brewster is the number 4 team on the RPI board. They've got a handful of losses, but they are early. It looks like they haven't lost in a while, according to this website, which could be wrong. But
the WIA website.
Yes. Yeah,
the
they
WIA
could be
website
wrong.
They beat Napavine 49-37 on December 21.
Well, they haven't. They're 21-4.
And it looks like they 1, 2, 3. Yeah, all 4 losses came in 2024.
Yeah,
Better times.
Yeah, their last loss was to Kashmir.
Talking to the mic, Zach.
Sorry. Their last loss was to Kashmir by 12 on the 28th. Oh, my God. They lost that game 33-21. Jesus.
Yeah, that was in the Sun Dome. That makes sense. Yeah, sure.
Well,
Like,
look,
what does it?
because you just
Teams can't shoot in domes, Aaron.
You can't just you walk into.
I
the
have
Sun
bad
Dome.
news for you about where this next game is going to be played.
No.
The walls are further
really?
back. The backboard looks different.
Look,
Psychology.
No, it's just the Sun Dome. You walk into the Sun Dome, you feel gross. You leave the Sun Dome, you feel gross.
Yeah, you walk into the Sun Dome and you feel like you're in the building from The Brutalist.
At volleyball last year, I had to leave for half an hour in between games and lay down in my car. I just felt sick. I felt like I was going to vomit.
Didn't enjoy the.
And you poor bastard, you got to
It's
go
like a
back.
Casino.
It kind of is
Without
like
the
a
bright
casino.
light, without like the neon and the
It
all the
also it
noises,
doesn't have
just-
the beautiful thing about like Spokane is where you can just like stay in a hotel on the river and walk to the stadium and walk to the bar, a couple blocks away, whatever bar happens to be open, the
plan on
Viking of the
walking to
season
that.
ticket or whatever.
plan on walking to that Bob's Burgers multiple times.
You can't walk over to Bob's Burgers. All right, so yeah, that's any predictions for who's going to wind up in the finals of this bad boy.
I'm done making predictions.
Adna.
I'm going Adna Reardon.
I hope all the teams have fun.
Y'all go Reardon off top half.
Sure. I mean, they're the
The highest
best
seed or the
on that
lowest seed
top
up
half.
there, whatever you want to call it. But
It's God, yeah. That top half is a number 4 seed, an 8 seed, a 7, a 10, a 6, and 11 seed.
that's kind of what I mean. If you're Rainier, you slide into that 8 spot. Had you have won, presumably if Swenson was healthy, it's just a horrible break.
Yeah, the
bad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are all in the bottom half of the bracket.
Yeah.
Reardon 1, 2, 3, 5.
Shouldn't
Reardon
happen. That shouldn't be a thing in a state tournament, but it is, unfortunately.
Well, that's how the tournament works. You got to win you got to beat who's ahead of you.
I have a state tournament take that will be saved for postseason for when I write a column about how I would change the state tournament in this state.
I cannot wait to hear those takes. Let's go to the boys' side. The boys 2B round. What are we calling these? A regional round openers.
I've heard both.
I call it the opening round.
I've heard both. I've seen both in writing.
Yeah.
I think they're officially regional matchups, but if you
Then-
ask any coach in the state, they'll say both.
Yeah. All right.
The
so
bracket says opening round.
Oh, does it? I don't
Yes.
know.
number 6 Toledo lost to number 3 Reardon 73-35. Toledo was down 20-2 in the first quarter, never recovered. Cooper Fallon was held to just 4 points. Tough break for Toledo, but we hear Reardon is good.
Yeah, that's one of those top. Well, it'll be the same thing with Adney here in a few seconds. Those top 3 teams are just insane.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any shame in losing to one of those teams, even if it's, almost 40 points. It's just a tier above. No, that's no shame to Toledo. They're still a great team. And, depending on how it lines up, they can make a run. But Reardon's just.
Yeah, Reardon's another level.
Yep.
All right. Reardon's last loss, by the way, was to Freeman, who beat Adna 81-45 in another round of regionals, whatever we're calling it. All right, lost track. Adna coach Luke Salmi had high praise for the Scotties, saying it was one of the best B teams he's ever seen, and they operated and looked like a community college team. So, yeah, what do we think about Adna in that one?
There's that. Yeah. I mean, I think that was Salmi's way of kind of saying, like,
What
yeah,
do you
like,
want?
I mean, come on.
Me to do?
We did our best.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to still go over there. We're still where we want to be on Wednesday. We'll have a chance to play for a trophy and potentially, depending on how good of a trophy it is in our matchups. And yeah, you tip your cap and you move on.
Yeah, we'll get to the 2B boys bracket in a minute. Number 9 Napvine beat number 16 LeConnor 69-51. It was poetry in motion for Zach's story on the game. What else stood out there, Zach?
Hudson Chambers was kind of the bright spot early because LeConnor did a good job in not letting Denault beat them early, so they were making everyone else beat them. And Chambers hit a couple threes. It was a very weird game. Like Napavine started off up 9-0, and then LeConnor is up 18-12 after one, and then Napavine goes on another 9-0 run to start the second, and then it's back and forth, and then the third quarter is when everything kind of changed. That the ball movement that Napavine wants to see and wants to do offensively, that really took full throttle in the third. LeConnor's a good team though. They're a much better 16 seed, and last year in one of the first games I covered down here was them and Adna in a opening round winner to Spokane game. And
Do you mean a regional game?
It went to overtime, didn't it?
it did go to
forgot
overtime.
about that game.
Yeah. And that was a much better Adna team than I think this Napavine team is. So, I mean, they fought for a half, but Napavine overwhelmed them in the third, and O'Connor could never recover.
Yeah. All right. And then let's see. Number 13, Rainier lost to number 12, Tri-Cities Prep in Richland. Zach was also there for the finale to Rainier's season.
That was a very, like I said in my story, it was like two teams playing basketball in a phone booth. I mean, it was defensive.
And then you made the massive faux pas of saying it was like there was a lid on both baskets. I one time told former sports writer Pete Castor and maybe it was just Pete at the time, that if he ever used it was like there was a lid on the basket metaphor in a gamer again, I would fire him. It's terrible. Don't ever do that again. Anyway, go on.
I used icing on the cake one time, and Josh was like, "Stop it!" And I was like, "All right, fair enough."
There's certain things you just like, like a lid on the basket. I'm like, God damn it.
Would you rather me say
cliches.
that? Would you rather me say that or mollywopping?
I would have rather seen mollywopping.
That's a story back in my old paper. Anyway, it was just, both teams had a tough night scoring, and Rainier just couldn't make enough shots at the end. Jacob Meldrum had 19 in his final game. It was just one of those games for Rainier where they were playing as well they could defensively, and then they just went really cold down the stretch when they absolutely needed to hit a key bucket or two. So 4 seniors, all 3 Meldrums. As far as I know,
Meldrum.
Are we done with Meldrums? I don't know. If there's
no
any,
idea.
No idea if there's any younger ones. But if there aren't any younger ones, we're done with Meldrums. No more Meldrums on Rainier boys basketball and Hunter Howell. But Peyton Schaefer will be back. I think this group can leave with their head held high. First time getting to this point in over 2 decades, and we'll see if this will be the start of something for Rainier.
It's a tough matchup for him, too. I think if I remember correctly, Tri-Cities Prep finished 5th in its own district, and all 4 of the teams above them also made it to state. Like, you put Tri-Cities Prep in another district or another league, they probably have a better record and are potentially a top 8 seed, but just kind of by default, they get thrown at that 12 spot.
And Rainier,
there's other teams that would be easier to face at a 12-13
and Rainier hung tough
matchup.
with them. I mean, that was a game that Rainier easily could have won. Had some shots falling their way. So,
all right, let's take a look at 2B boys bracket. Our matchups for Wednesday at the round of 12. We've got Okanagan versus Toledo. That's an 11 versus a 6. How do we feel about that one?
Okanagan, did they played Napavine, I want to say. I can't remember if they beat them or not. Let me see if I can pull the standings up.
Hold on, I'll pull it up. You guys vamp for a second.
Okanagan
did play Napavine. They beat Napavine.
Yeah.
And the score was, wait a minute, this can't be right. These games took place in July.
70-62 on December 20th. Okanagan beat Napavine.
What are you looking at? Games in July?
I don't know. Why is this on the WA website? What is happening? Yeah, 70-62. And then they beat Adna 56-41. Says a lot about
so the C2B. So Aaron said off mic that Okanagan, the noted C2BL slayers, could be slain.
I've seen it happen for 10 years.
Josh said we had a D4 champ last year. That means we have to revert back to the mean.
Yeah, it probably does.
I see what you're seeing now. I don't know why they have July games up there, but yeah, they've beaten Napavine, they've beaten Adna, they've beaten Brewster at least once. They played Lake Roosevelt tough. That's a top 5 team, if I remember correctly. At Liberty Bell's also in the tournament. They've beaten them. Kind of what I was just saying about TCP. I was a little surprised to see Okanagan at the 11.
So they're battle tested.
I just kind of assumed they'd be higher. Obviously, with limited knowledge of, we don't follow the east side as closely as we do stuff around here, obviously. But that's not a gimme for Toledo.
No, that's a difficult one. Key for them, keep Cooper Fallon out of foul trouble. If Fallon's out of foul trouble and they hit a couple threes, I think you're in a good spot, but that's not going to be an easy game.
They're tall. I'm just looking at their roster. Lucas Carlton 6'9",
Jordan Kukenbeck,
6'8", Carter Kukenbeck 6'5", or Kukenboo, I don't know what's his name. Boise State commit as a tight end, so they have the size and physicality to potentially get foul in trouble. I'm curious what Grady Fallon draws up because, he's got a few days to game plan and give him a couple days.
All right, the 10-7 matchup in the round of 12, Liberty Bell versus Adna.
Is this a rematch of a football? Wasn't that a football first-round matchup?
It was,
Liberty
and Adna
Bell
won.
Yeah, Liberty Bell has just moved up from 1B, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Located in beautiful Winthrop, Washington.
Yeah.
Twist.
Adna went up there and won a football game.
8-3, if I remember correctly.
8-3, yeah. They played baseball up there.
Let's all hope there's more scoring in this one. But
can you imagine, though?
That was the saddest looking football field.
That was a depressing football field.
It's like, is there ash raining down on the field? What's happening now? All right,
Liberty
so
Bell's 16-10.
This is Adna's gonna have to shoot in the dome, shoot in an arena. If they could do that, they'll be okay.
I think they can. Trevin hit, I want to say 6 or 7 threes in one of the games last year once he got going. It may just be an adjustment, that first half, kind of the nerves settling in of it being a loser out game. This goes for all teams too. This is just an Adna thing. But kind of the same thing I was just saying with Fallon too. You give Luke Salmi a couple days to game plan. I think that they're going to come out, looking good, for lack of a better term. I don't know. I was trying to think of something smart, but it's really just that simple.
All right. And then we've got Tri-Cities Prep versus Lake Roosevelt. Winner gets to play Reardon. And then we've got Napavine versus Northwest Christian. These two teams played in a state championship game once upon a time.
How long ago?
Oh, 2012, 13.
Was that the same year Morton White Pass won state? Or was that after?
That would have been before
15,
that.
14, 15.
They won 14 to 15. I think this was 2012. I wasn't over there that year. Pete was over there.
They did play last year in a quarterfinal, and Northwest Christian, the West brothers combined for 36 last year. Asher West, who scored 12 of those, is not back. He was a senior last year, but Avi West is back. He put up 24 on Napavine last year. Napavine ended up winning somewhere in the 8 to 10 range, if I remember correctly. I'm sure he'll be their number one target defensively.
So the Northwest Christian Columbia Burbank boys game was after the Mossy Rock Burbank girls game. Northwest Christian was up after 3 quarters by 2.
Burbank boys are so good.
They were up but Northwest Christian was up by 2, and they were giving them a game.
That's impressive.
It took. They had Burbank had one of their kids drop a 40 piece.
Was it Quincy Scott?
Number 13, I
probably
was.
It was a pleasure to watch that man ball out last year.
Columbia Burbank is good.
I left Spokane like, this Quincy Scott kid is the man. Like, that was insane.
So
and the fact that Northwest Christian gave them a game is very impressive.
That was in the first game of the year too. For this year,
which one?
Northwest Christian Burbank.
I think he's saying they just played in a regional.
Yeah, they played in the they were the 1-8 in
Richland.
Regional.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, yeah. So the Columbia Burbank won that 89-75.
So yeah, I'm pulling up their roster because I'm trying to remember who it was. Yeah, Avi West, number 1, and then their other guy that went off was Caleb Grant, the forward. He also had over 20 points. But yeah, it was. I think it was Quincy Scott. I'm pulling up the.
He had the moment of the tournament last year, just a sick putback dunk in the championship game, if I remember correctly.
That's pretty cool.
Oh my lord, for a 2B school to have a kid like that, it was awesome to watch.
All right,
it was Scott. Yeah, that kid's good.
So if things how do we like Napavine in this one against Northwest Christian?
Boy, they are going to have to play an A game, and that might not even be enough.
I'd say it's coin flip, honestly, because I do trust Denal to get going. And yeah, that's really it. I'm just putting a lot of trust in Denal.
A lot of these kids have not played in a state tournament game for basketball. And Northwest Christian just went toe-to-toe with Burbank and probably feels like they could have won that game.
I think Denal did put up 21 against Northwest Christian last year in the quarter, if I remember correctly. So that, like you said, though, beyond that, a lot of these guys, it was a senior heavy team last year. Yeah. How are they going to, adjust to the dome and being in that environment?
Northwest Christian is 18-7, which is not a phenomenal record, but that includes 2 losses to number 1 Columbia Burbank, lost to Reardon, 2 losses to Reardon, and a loss to Colfax, and a loss to Freeman. So they've only lost to like top 4 teams, and then they lost to Meade, which is like a 3A school.
Yeah. So I think
pretty good.
Yeah, this
another tough matchup. Yeah,
this might be a rough Wednesday for the C2BL.
Keep an eye out in this 2:00 game on Wednesday for the Northwest Christian fans. doing the goddamn Little Red Wagon.
I didn't.
You'll hear
that.
it. You'll hear it.
Okay.
Let me know when you hear it. And
I feel like this is something I've put out of my mind, and if I heard it again, I'd get like a war flashback.
They just sing like they do the chant about like you can't ride in our little red wagon, and it's.
I've heard it for some reason.
Heard it so many times. It destroys me every time.
What else destroys you?
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
All right. So looking. Do you know what?
Moles.
Moles. Yeah, moles. You should have seen the glee on my face when I pulled up the bucket on my mole trap and caught one. So happy.
That's the happiest he's ever been.
Yeah. So Thursday potential games.
That's what we live for.
Okanagan, Toledo versus Colfax. Liberty Bell Adna winner versus Columbia. Tri-Cities Prep Lake Roosevelt winner versus Reardon. And Napa Northwest Christian winner versus Freeman. I kind of like all the favorites in those potential matchups just because the favorites all won their regional round games. And the bracket looks fairly chalk so far.
Yeah, East Side I think is going to be quite happy with the semifinals and two because I think it's going to be an all East Side semifinal.
All right. This podcast is brought to you by Goebel Septic, providing septic service and portable sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grays Harbor counties. Septic pumping inspection and riser installation, commercial septic pumping, grease trap services. And as always, they will rent you a porta potty and a sink to wash your hands after you've been using the porta potty. Visit goebelseptic.com. That's GOEBEL septic.com or call 360-736-2167. These next segments will be a little quicker. We're jumping to the A's, where WFS girls and Tenino boys both lost regional round matchups. We'll start with the Bearcats. We're defeated by Archbishop Murphy for the third time in 4 years. Dylan was there, and he's got a movie reference to describe how the game played out. Is it from Fast and the Furious?
This is from Groundhog Day.
Oh.
I'm sure you know.
I see.
It's Groundhog Day. Again.
All right. Yep. Okay.
I almost led the story with that, and then I was like, nah, that can't do that.
A little rude.
But yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, Ava Marr and Brooke Black, I believe it's pronounced Blatchley.
The guard,
they
number
combined
2.
for 8 or 9 threes. The first quarter was, defensive. They had it was 10-2 WFS about 7.5 minutes in, and then somebody, I don't remember who, hit like a nice layup to make it 10-4 after one. And you're thinking, okay, they're doing pretty well so far against, this super talented guard combo. They're flying around on defense as they always do. And then Blatchley just hits this like step back 3, just drills it. And I was like, oh, they're back. Welcome back. And she hit 3 in that quarter. Marr hits 3 in the third, including that heat check from at least 5 feet beyond the 3-point line. And I forget which game you were talking about was physical earlier. This one was very physical as well. The Archbishop coach got teed up actually for arguing a call. There was no tees on any players, but it's just good basketball. And at the end of the day, Karnofsky kind of said this too after. He's like, they just made some tough shots. You could defend a girl, you could have a hand of her face, and you could chase her around the court. But when they pull up and just sink a 30-footer, it's like, all right, well, I guess we're going back to the round of 12. Something that, I didn't necessarily learn because we kind of saw it last year. Like, we know Dalen's going to have the matchup advantage against any EFCO team. Archbishop had the size and the tenacity on defense. They were double, triple teaming her at times as soon as she would get the ball, just swarming backside help, the whole, kid and caboodle defensively. And it worked for the most part. She still ended up with 14 because she's still really good. And she got to the free throw line a bunch by drawing all that contact. But it took a bit, and they weren't able to kind of run things through her as much as they would have liked. Dylan Beck didn't score in the first half either. It almost felt like that strong quarter defensively in that first quarter. It almost felt like it went to waste just because they were so good defensively. They only allowed 4 points that whole quarter. And you look up, they're only up 6. Because these guards are going to get going. And sure enough, they did. And it just felt like there should have been a bigger cushion there. It would have made things a little closer in the end. But
yeah, I was actually there. I caught the game.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I ended up with the mop. Did you see that?
The mop? Yeah, I did see you had the mop there.
I forgot the guy's name next to me. Works at WFS.
Oh, it was Marquez.
Marquez. He's there the whole time. He kind of, he's joking with me back and forth about needing the mop. And I was like, well, you can shove me out of the way if I'm not paying attention. And then sure enough, there comes a time, an assistant coach in the Archbishop Murphy bench. Hey, can we get that mop? So I picked it up and I went to hand it to Marquez. Looking around, nobody's there. I almost went out and did it myself. And then he popped in. I was like, well, shit, somebody's got to mop this up.
And Ridley got an excellent photo of you with the mop.
I was like, nobody's grabbing the mop. Am I just going to go out there and do it myself?
It actually goes kind of hard. Like it's an NS.
No one could see the
FW
panic on my face of saying, "Where's Marquez?
It was.
Should I be doing this?"
It is a hard photo.
Let's see if I can find it for Aaron real quick.
It's our new group photo. It's our new photo in our group chat. I want that to be your new profile picture.
You look like you're practicing for the ball. So yeah,
the straightest face possible.
I thought Archbishop Murphy did a nice job of just being physical inside and like making it really difficult for Dalen to even get the ball. They were pressuring that a lot. And my other takeaway, Dylan Beck, really good.
Yeah, she's in the second half. Yeah, I think she scored 7 points in 60 seconds there at the beginning of the second half, and then I think she ended up with a team high 16. The defense on Dalen, I was joking with Chris Johnson after, it was the you can't call a foul on every possession defense.
Yeah. They were pushing her around, and they had some size to deal with her a little bit. But I was impressed with Dalen.
They're just a bad matchup.
Yeah.
You know, 3 times in 4 years, it's a trend. I mean, they're just a bad matchup for WF West.
And it's not like, I don't think it's like an indictment, right?
No,
like
it's
WF
not.
West, they were still able to trophy out of this position a couple years ago. That's their goal. They want to leave Yakima with some hardware, obviously. Right. But yeah, like you said, I mean,
it's just a bad matchup, and it's it's a bugaboo that they can't. It's like Archbishop Murphy is like that pest that just comes up at once a year, and you try to get rid of it, and then it just doesn't go away.
Are you talking about owl or moles? Is that what you're getting at?
It could be.
Sometimes you got to build an owl box.
Yeah, tell me about this owl box, Aaron. Tell our listeners about the owl box you're building.
Once we wrap this up, I'm gonna go home and build an owl box and put it up in the tree next to my backyard, and hopefully it'll catch any moles or critters or deter them from interrupting my vegetables this summer.
Did you go to the farm store to get this plywood?
No, farm store, not a sponsor. Are they a sponsor anymore? I don't know.
Well, they were game of the week
during
sponsor.
football season. They were, yeah.
I got it at Lincoln Creek Lumber. Ace Hardware.
Also not a sponsor.
No free ads. I got it at Beep. So yeah, I will keep you guys posted on the progress of my owl box.
Please do.
So looking at the 2A girls bracket as it stands now, Wednesday games, Eatonville versus Prosser. The winner gets Archbishop Murphy. Port Angeles versus Columbia River. The winner gets number 1 Linden. WF West plays North Mason at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. Nice trip over for Dylan. He can take his time going over the pass, maybe go to the Yakima Sub Shop, get a sandwich, maybe go to Bob's Burgers. I don't know. He doesn't know if he'll have time.
I don't know.
So busy over there. And then the winner of that gets number 3 seed Deer Park in the quarterfinals. And then the other one, number 9 Woodland plays number 8 Bainbridge. Woodland? Is Woodland good? Do we know anything about Woodland?
Well,
I know they're there. And
WF West has beat them twice, and neither one of them have been close. They've got one really good player in Kennedy Bockert, who's probably one of the better individual players down south. Team-wise, they're right where they should be as a 9 seed.
Okay. WF West, Deer Park, potentially. Any thoughts on that? Deer Park is
Don't know much about Deer Park.
3 seed.
I think they're 3 in RPI.
They were 5 in RPI.
5 in RPI, okay.
Real quick,
they have lost to nobody, according to this. Really? Is that accurate?
Oh, are they unbeaten?
Well, that can't be right.
I think that is
they
right.
were the
actually.
3 seed, so yeah, they were.
I think WF West is the highest team with a loss, so that makes sense.
Yeah, Linden, Ellensburg, and Deer Park, I think, were the undefeated teams.
So yeah.
Oh wait, yeah, those are the 3. So yeah, Deer Park apparently good.
Yeah, and I'd go ahead and chalk WF West in there. We were talking about the North Mason matchup. North Mason doesn't have anyone taller than 5'8".
Mm-hmm.
And
that
they've got
well for WF West.
They have like 8 or 9 losses. So I don't know. It just seems like a good bounce back opportunity for them to get to Thursday, and then obviously prepare for Deer Park. It really sticks out to me thinking all the way through. If WF West, they're the 4. Assuming it goes chalk everywhere else, you play 3 Deer Park in the quarters. You get 2 Ellensburg in the semis, and then you would get 1 Linden in the title game.
You got to beat them if you want the championship.
Yep. And that's cost you losing your regional because you look at Archbishop Murphy on the other side. They're going to play the winner of a 6-11. And, well, then they'll have to play Linden. But, Linden and Ellensburg being on the 2 separate sides, you're going to run into one of them eventually and then probably have to beat the other. But, yeah, I'd kind of chalk them into that Thursday spot and then see what happens from there, kind of like last year.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, and on to Tenino. The Beavers went on a great run to even make regionals, but they lost to number 9 Chelan in Wenatchee, 70-52. Zach would have made that trip too if the times had lined up better.
Okay, I don't know.
He did get to talk to Ryan. You wouldn't have gone to Wenatchee. You go to Richland, but not Wenatchee. What's wrong with you?
I know. How dare I?
You go, talk about apples up there. Big apple town.
I do like apples. Apples are my favorite.
They have the Apple Harvest Festival.
Yeah, apple's my favorite flavor and one of my favorite fruits.
All right. Yeah, you did get to talk to Ryan Robertson on the phone afterwards. What did he have to say?
Grateful. He's grateful for this run of his seniors. He told a small little anecdote, like when he started coaching them 3 years ago, the crowd was very sparse and not a lot of people in Tenino cared about boys basketball. When they went to Wenatchee, they filled up both sections of the gym. They filled up both sides of the gym to damn near full.
Yeah.
And that's the type of impact that senior class had. Even with losing one of their best players, they still find a way to get to that point and just had the magic run out. He called. He said Chelan was the best A team they faced all year. 1A, 2A, 3A. They're the best team that they face. One of the best teams they faced all year. Chelan got out to a quick start, scored 20 points in both the first and second quarter, and took control from there. They were double and triple teaming Gagne is what Ryan told me. So he just could never get into a flow. But it's one heck of a run for a senior class to make it to 2 state tournaments, get to Yakima once. That's going to be a senior class probably to remember for Tenino for a long time. And next year is going to look very, very different. Probably Jackson Gore's your best player, and then you got to hope that some of these freshmen that were on JV are going to really take a next step.
All right, and if you're interested in taking the next step on your own sleep comfort, visit our friends. Yeah, you like that?
Good segue. Yeah,
Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress
Sucker for
Gallery.
transitions.
I know, right?
My wife hates watching Breaking Bad with me. I'll just be like, oh.
They got ongoing sales on the Serta iComfort series of mattresses. You can check those out online. Oh, they've got bed gear. Sleep is personal. Find your fit. This looks interesting.
Are you gonna buy any bed gear for your owl box?
No, the owls will bring their own
cushion or
bedding.
something.
And they've got promotional financing available if you sign up for the Synchrony Home credit card. So you could buy all of your home furnishings from Elam's Home Furnishings with a credit card. It'll be sick. 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia, or visit them online at elamshf.com. Let's move on to the 1Bs, where we have but one team. And it's the PL Girls, which took its first loss of the season to number 2 Waterville Mansfield in the regional round of the playoffs, 59-18.
Not great, Bob.
Tough break, yeah. So they will play number 10 Oakdale in the round of 12, and the winner of that game will move on to face number 1 Nia Bay, which is the 2-time defending state champion, which has made 3 straight trips to the title game. What do we know about Oakdale?
So I was actually doing some research on Oakdale last night.
Yeah?
They are in the same league as Garfield Palouse.
Garpal?
That's how it is?
Sure.
I don't know.
Can be. Why not?
It's Garfield.
Yeah, but everybody calls him Garpal.
Why? Oh, I get it now.
It's shorter.
Yeah,
What do they call Toccoa Rosalia?
I get the joke.
never
They
heard
lost
that
to Mount Vernon Christian by 5. They lost to Americool Heartline by 1.
Uh-huh.
They've both their losses are to Garpal. The first one by 18 on January 3rd. Their second one only by 7 on January 25th.
Ooh.
And then they lost to Yakima Tribal by 3. Yeah, this is going to be a very difficult game for PL because Oakdale has been tested, PL has not, and their only common opponent is Tahola, which Oakdale just whipped in the opening round, and PL won by 12. Yeah, so this could be a very difficult game for PL.
And you will be there to cover it.
Rube will be there. Rube will be covering that game.
We should have Rube on the podcast. What's his deal? Where's he at?
He's probably at home.
Probably. I don't know.
And packing. He joins our newsroom on Wednesday, March 12th.
You gonna have a party for him?
I don't know about a party.
A firm handshake. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll give him a firm handshake and a slap on the booty.
You know, he seems like the kind of guy that needs a party. He just needs to get out a little more. Rube, go to a party, man. Have some fun.
We'll go
get
out
yourself kicked out of a bar.
We'll split the workload a little bit. Take a night off.
Yeah.
He's doing things himself mostly. I know he's got Jake and doing some stuff too, but I know he does a lot for
but he's joining us half news, half sports. So he'll be helping us out. Are you promoting that he gets kicked out of a bar in Spokane?
Not necessarily in Spokane, but maybe, between, you guys are flying. You don't even have the road trip fun of it. Jesus.
That's fine.
What's this newsroom coming to?
It's a Taylor's decision.
I don't approve. Make them drive. All right.
Get these guys on the passes now.
Yeah.
I was already on the pass. I don't need to go on it again.
Do it again.
Do it again.
This podcast brought to you by Americool Heating and Air Conditioning. Zach, who are you rooming with over in Spokane? Rubes?
Yeah.
When the room heats up a little too hot, who are you going to call?
Americool Heating and Cooling.
And they will say, sir, we do not service Spokane or hotels. But if they did, they would gladly help you out with all of your heating and air conditioning needs because your comfort is their business.
Well, they wouldn't be my business in Spokane.
Full service HVAC installation services and repair with a 100% satisfaction guarantee on everything they do, whether that's commercial HVAC services, just maintenance, working on new construction, improving your indoor air quality. Give them a call, 360-948-2410, or visit west.americoolonline.com. So a quick round of quick hitters before we get out of here. Which local team do you guys have the most confidence in winning a state title? If you were betting men, where would you place your bets?
Rent's going on the Adna girls.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So you're going to be homeless. Confirm.
Is Zach taking the field against Adna in this one? That's bold.
What did Josh say? What did you tell me that Josh says about state sports?
Let's just say Napavine.
We will.
Napavine winning last year was the first West Side team, at least in 2B, to win in like 15 years.
Okay, so
take away that.
The last West Side team to win in 2B in girls was it was Mossy Rock in 2007. Yeah.
So
I was there.
Take it. So let's
17 years in between.
So let's take that info. What are the chances that a Southwest District 4 team goes back to back? What are the odds? Let's just play this game because I don't think they're very high.
Well, they're different teams.
Yeah, but a District 4 team going back to back.
I mean, it could happen.
I don't.
They're like they've gotten to the title game in back-to-back years.
But winning one.
Yeah, but once you get to the title game, it's all a toss-up anyway.
I don't know.
Iron sharpens iron, Zach.
I think if they can get through Bruce, again, this is if chalk happens with no upsets. I think a Brewster Adna semi, whoever wins that, I would have the utmost confidence in a state title matchup.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably good.
I'm taking the field.
Do you want to go double or nothing on our bet?
No.
Okay.
No, because then if I have to owe you 4 beers, then that's just not.
I just buy him a 6-pack.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
cheaper.
Yeah.
All right. How many area teams trophy? How many teams do we have in state? 7?
There are 7 in Spokane and 1 in Yakima.
So 8 total.
Okay.
What's the over under? 2.5?
Yeah.
I'm taking the. I was about to say over, but I think I'm taking under.
Yeah, I think I'd go 2.
I'm going 2.
So I'm trying to think this out.
If the 2B girls bracket was set up differently, I would maybe go 3.
If they were all on their own, the same side of the bracket.
Yeah, they're all in the same half of the bracket. That really messes things up. But I'm just not that confident in the 2B boys.
So Adna girls, WF West girls, I think can trophy despite the regional round loss.
I am going to. The third,
Might be
if
two.
I were to go,
I could see Napavine getting.
yeah, I was
Girls.
about to say, if there's a third one, I'd say Napavine girls, but I think 2.
All right.
I'll go 3. I'll go Napavine girls just so we have some difference in opinion.
Area tournament MVP. Do they still do the all tournament teams at Yakima and Spokane?
so.
Yes, they do. Yes,
All right.
because Dalen made all tournament team last year for 2A girls.
Okay. Do they do it at 2Bs? I haven't seen it. They years ago they did it. I got to vote.
I didn't vote on anything if there was one.
Yeah. All right. So your area tournament MVP. This is pretty open to anything, but one.
So
we're
just picking who we believe from these
Our
8
area,
teams from
yeah.
our area.
I'm going to go out on a crazy limb and say Carson Freeman. I know, wild.
Yeah, that's bold.
Yeah.
Hot take. Dylan Beck.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Dylan Beck.
I was thinking the bolder one, yeah.
Yeah, I was queuing that up. She's good. She's playing really good ball right now. All right. Any other bold predictions? I feel like Zach is just going to uncork something that's going to make me have to edit this podcast in 10 minutes.
Wait a minute. When do you edit? How often have you had to edit one of these podcasts?
One of the sports dump? Almost never. I don't give a shit.
Do you
about
want to?
sports
Because
dump.
I have some thought. No, I'm just kidding.
I have some takes.
I don't think you could come up with a take hot enough to compel me to edit anything out of this at this point.
Bold prediction.
Can I give a not good one?
Wait a minute.
Okay.
What if Mapton beats Rainier and Adna?
That's
I mean,
not
I don't think
crazy.
it'll happen, but
No,
I don't
but
think
that's
it's like
not-
that wild.
But that's not crazy. That's not that crazy to think about.
Let me take a look. I mean, Mapton's.
I just said Adna's going to win it all, so I'm not going to say it as a bold prediction, but just some food
That's
for
not that
something
wild.
to chew on.
I don't know. Mapton just lost to Elam twice in last month.
I forgot about that.
and Adna just
I
kind
didn't
of
know
boat
that.
raced Elam.
Yeah,
like,
but
you're giving
Adna
Mapton
kept
way
it.
too
But
much credit.
Elam kept it close with Adna for 3 quarters, right? And then
It was close-ish, yeah. 10 to
Close-ish.
15.
Yeah, you keep it close for 3 quarters in one hand, you shit in the other. And
which one fills up faster?
I guess I don't know.
Here's my bold prediction.
I forgot my brackets
No,
downstairs.
I have
Here we go.
a non-basketball bold prediction.
You're gonna miss a breakfast game because you failed to sleep the night before in Spokane, and
No.
Rube's gonna be shaking you in the morning. Dylan or Zachary, we must be at the
Your
arena.
alarm's been going off for 20 minutes.
No, we will only eat at Red Robin once this entire week.
Good.
Unlike you yahoos that
It was
ate there
19.
like
We didn't have a
every
lot of
day.
options.
Go to a
Could
bar.
go to the bar with Cody.
He could have had a fake.
What you guys need to do is, if you get a break in the middle of the day, you probably will have this on Thursday or Friday.
We'll have this on Wednesday. Well, a small break, I guess, because Napavine's at 2, and then Napavine boys are at 2, and then Napavine girls aren't until 7:15. And God knows this tournament's going to run long because
What always does.
God
you think it's
forbid the
gonna run on time?
WIA have stuff on time.
Anyway, what you do is you leave the arena and you walk across the river to downtown, and you go into Soulful Soups, downtown Spokane.
Soulful soups.
Soulful Soups.
There
It's
is a
great.
nice
They
sushi.
serve you get your food really fast because it's just a soup.
Right.
And there's a counter, and they just put it in the bowl, and they're
No,
like, here you go.
that's how a soup is
The soup
poured?
kitchen.
The first time I ate there, I was like, my God, how'd you do that so quickly? And the guy's like, it's soup.
Is it
I'm
better-
gonna
Made it
drop
4
the-
days ago.
Should I ask for a recipe for our soup off this summer?
You should, yeah. I dropped the link to Soulful Soups in the group chat. But yeah, the soup place.
You'd have to see if Rube remembers
it's
that
phenomenal.
sushi place from last year, too. That was very good.
There's a good Mongolian grill in Spokane too. Pete and I went there years ago.
I prefer Mongolian grill over sushi. I'm not
It's
really
like
looking
it's a
forward to
it's a
my-
drive though.
Is
It's
it
not
like
you're not gonna walk.
Is it like Hoo Ha? Do you know what Hoo Ha is?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, that's like a Mongolian grill. Like build your
like
own.
you scoop
build
all your
own
shit
stuff.
into a
yeah,
bowl
yeah,
and then
that's
give
what
it to them and they
yep.
throw it on the grill.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Then
it was phenomenal.
I've experienced.
Is there a menu on this Soulful Soups website? Or is
No,
it
they
kinda
don't plan the soup. You just get there and see what kind of soup they got.
Is
man.
it like Crumble Cookie where it's like a new soup menu every week?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Oh,
Every
that's
single one of
lit.
these.
I don't
tabs
just
says
go in.
the
They're gonna
same
have good
thing.
soup. They've got like 4 pots of soup, and you just point at one, and then they give you soup. I don't know why you're making this so difficult. Don't be an asshole. Just get some soup.
Whoa, that's wild. Jesus.
When are you guys doing your traveling to be there for these games?
Rube, Ridley, and I fly out tomorrow afternoon.
I'm driving over Wednesday.
All right. You guys excited?
So-
What, you got your lodgings all prepared?
Yeah, lodging prepared.
Are you guys
Suitcase-
within walking distance of the arena?
Yes, we are. 20-minute walk.
Jesus, where are you guys staying?
Fairfield Inn,
Oh, that's okay.
downtown.
I always preferred the Montvale in the entertainment district. It was great. It was away from all the other local people. I got to walk through like the cool part of Spokane. It was a lot of fun.
Not the dangerous part.
Well, the cool part and the dangerous part are kind of the same. You know, I prefer the dangerous
There's a
part.
pancake house over there too. If you're
Oh, I do
your
love
breakfast.
pancakes.
It's
Well,
walking distance from the hotel.
waffles are better, but pancakes are good.
Well, Dylan does love waffles. He went to Waffle House at one time,
do
and
love
it was Waffle House at the
several
Black
Waffle
History
Houses.
Museum, and he was like,
Yeah.
well,
Just the Waffle
It
House.
depends. Do you want to like see an altercation?
Yes.
well, don't go to the soup place.
Waffle
It's
House
very
then,
peaceful.
yeah.
Yeah. Will the soup place have altercations?
Hopefully not.
Okay, good.
You now
No,
have
it's
a
very mellow.
you now have a challenge. Make an altercation happen.
I'm not going to make any altercations.
You're gonna get in an argument with a soup guy. I've had better soup than this. All right, that's all
My
we
buddy
got.
Aaron could come in here. He could kick your ass and make better soup.
I would never say such a thing to the Soulful Soups place. What a delight that spot is. All right, that's all we got. Where can people follow you for updates on games and whatnot?
DM Wilhelm225 on Twitter for me and Zach.
Zach at Zach_Martin95. We will also post all of our stories on our Cronline Twitter and Facebook, and necessary videos as well.
And I think Rube is DRK Sports News.
Something like that.
If I remember correctly.
Are you gonna post to? Are you gonna have Ridley post a TikTok of some kids getting the sportsmanship thing and crying?
God, no.
That's a great idea. Actually.
No, no.
Just the
I
entire-
veto.
your
I veto. I veto that.
I veto
Your
your
entire
veto. Let's
the
go.
entire coverage through TikTok is the games are explained only over videos of the sportsmanship trophies.
I hate that fucking sportsmanship award.
All right, we'll talk to you guys next week.